Title: Soul at Heart Hair Salon. Creator: Drew Werewolf. Somewhere in Maryland. Chapter 1: The Heart It Takes. Ding, 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 goes the alarm clock. Soul slowly opens her eyes and reaches for the clock to turn it off. However, her hand accidentally knocks it to the floor, causing it to break. Well, isn't that just great? Soul mutters, looking down at the shattered clock. Soul looks over at the window. I could use a little heaven touch in here, Soul said to herself while yarning. Soul lifts her body up and takes the cover off her, laying down at the floor for her house shoes. There's one, but where's the other? Soul questions herself, looking for the other shoe. Right here. Mommy. Heart comes out from under the bed and hands the shoe to her mother. Thank you, baby, Soul said with a smile. Heart placed the shoe by her mother's feet. As she slipped her foot into it, Heart hugged Soul tightly. Good morning, Mommy, Heart chirped. Good morning to you as well, pecan pie, Soul replied. She extended her arms around Heart's body, hugging her close. Soul's lips pressed tenderly against Heart's forehead. As she rose from the bed, Soul sang, "This Little Light of Mine," and made her way to the window. Drawing back the curtains, she noticed two scarlet cardinals perched on the windowsill, chirping merrily. Ah, isn't this sweet? Our Heavenly Father has sent two of His angels to serenade us with a sweet melody to start off this blessed day, and their voices are truly beautiful, Soul exclaimed, her eyes sparkling as she watched the birds take flight. Have a safe journey, lovelies, she uttered, smiling as they soared into the sky. Mommy, it's so bright in here, Heart said, shielding her eyes with her hand. It's a touch of heaven, honey. Trust me, in a society like this, we all need a bit of it, Soul replied, a gentle laugh escaping her lips as she looked at Heart. Now, go ahead and get ready for school. I'll go make us breakfast. Soul smiled and stretched her body. Heart looked at Soul without uttering a word. What's wrong? Soul asked. Is society going to kill us? Is it not safe for us? Is that why I didn't go to school for some weeks? Heart said, her eyes fixed on Soul's. Soul met Heart's gaze. She walked over to her daughter and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Honey, we will be fine. We are strong and healthy African Americans. Whatever happens, God will be our shield and sword. And the reason why you didn't go to school for some weeks, baby, because of winter break. But now, it's over, and you can go back to schooling, friends. Perhaps even some enemies. And maybe even find a lover in a century or N. Soul spoke slowly and stops, shaking her head slightly. Then she smiled at Heart. You will be fine, trust me. Okay, Mommy. We will, Heart said, smiling back at Soul. I'll go get the uniform I ironed for you yesterday. It on the door hook, Soul said. Heart goes downstairs. She goes to the door hook and takes her uniform off. She sniffed her uniform and noticed the lavender perfume her mom have sprayed for her. Heart sniffed more and daydreams of running into a field of lavender flowers and rolling around in them. Sweet, Heart said to herself. Are you gonna sniff the perfume out that uniform or wear it to school with you? Soul looks down the stairs at Heart. Heart snaps out of her daydreaming and looks up at Soul. Sorry. Mommy. Heart holds her uniform and goes to her bedroom. She shuts the door. She sniffs it more and lays back on her bed. She lost herself in the smell of imagination. So sweet I can just taste it, Heart talks to herself. Hope you not in there still sniffing the chemicals out that uniform, said Soul. Heart hurries up and puts her uniform on. Soul steps back and looks under the door at her foot shadow movement and laughs. She places something by the door and walks away. Heart looks around for her shoes. She finds one shoe. Dang it, Heart looks around. She opens the door. Mommy, did you see my? Soul stops talking and looks down. She smiles and picks up her shoe and puts it on. Now I'm ready for show. Heart sniffed the air. She smells the smoky and grease of the bacon, the seasoning, fried eggs, spice of some food she can't identify in the air. She hears flipping sounds of the food being tossed around. She follows the smell with her nose. She trips on a step and catch her balance. Did you tie your shoes before you come rushing down here to eat? said Soul. Heart looks down at her shoes. She walks back from the stairs and eyes it. She steps down one step. "And your hygiene?" said Soul. "Mommy," said Heart, as she storms to the bathroom. Soul laughs and makes the plates. Heart washes her face and puts on deodorant and lotion. She brushes her teeth and gargle with mouthwash. She spits it out and wipes her mouth. She washes her hands and pat dry it on a cloth and comes out the bathroom. She sniffed the air again, but this time she noticed lavender smell again. She looks back at her mom's room. She walks towards it. As she spots the perfume, she grabs a small bottle of an empty perfume and opens it up. She pours some of the lavender perfume into the empty bottle of perfume. She closes it back. Soul hears footsteps and looks up curiously. "Everything okay up there, sweetie?" Heart feels her soul leaving her body as she jumps in a panic and drops the entire bottle of lavender perfume on the ground. "That's it. I'm coming up there," Soul says, placing the plates on the table and heading upstairs. Heart hurriedly puts the mini bottle of lavender on the table and rushes out of the room to get napkins from the bathroom. As she runs back, she accidentally bumps into Soul, sending the napkins flying into the air. The impact leaves Heart feeling dizzy and lightheaded. She rubs her head and looks up, her vision still blurry, to focus on her mother's face. "Mommy, breakfast. It's ready?" Heart asks, shaking her head slightly. Chapter 2, My Guilt. "Yeah, is. What are the napkins for?" Soul asks curiously. "Oh, this." Heart laughs. "I spilled something. Some. Wait." Soul sniffs the air. "Don't tell me." "I already know." He picks up the napkins and heads to her room. "Mommy." "And hell." Heart begins. But Soul looks back at her with a disappointed expression. Heart pauses, not finishing her sentence. She looks disappointed in herself as well. "Don't just stand there, Heart. Go fetch me the broom, and don't think about tasting any food right now," Soul says. Heart glances at Soul, then down the stairs. She walks downstairs to fetch the broom. As she does, her eyes linger on the food on the table. Heart looks even more disappointed and goes upstairs with the broom. She stands there, watching her mom clean up her mess, feeling terrible about herself. "I can sweep for you, Mom," Heart offers. "No, just give me the broom and go downstairs and eat," Soul says, taking the broom from Heart. Heart slowly walks down the stairs, feeling upset with herself. "Why did I do that? Why?" she mutters to herself. She glances at the plate of food and sniffs the steam. "Still hot," she says to herself. Heart takes her seat at the table. She notices the empty bottle of orange juice and looks at her full cup and her mom's half-full cup. She pours some of her orange juice into her mom's cup, making them both even. Heart looks down at her plate and sees 5 pieces of bacon on her plate and 3 on her mom's. She gives her mom one of her bacon strips. She places a fork and spoon next to her mom's plate. Then, she grabs the empty orange juice bottle and throws it in the trash. Soul finishes cleaning up the broken glass and perfume, disposing of them in the trash. As she does, a piece of glass falls onto her foot. "Ouch!" Soul exclaims, using a napkin to pick it up and throw it away. Soul's toe bleeds slightly little. "That's African blood," said Soul as she walked to the bathroom to clean her foot. She turned on the water and wet a napkin to dampen her bloody foot. She cleaned it with alcohol, grimacing at the pain. She then grabbed a bandage and wrapped it around her toe. "That's better," Soul said to herself. She washed her hands, dried them, and walked back downstairs. "I hope you didn't spray any lavender in my food," Soul said with a laugh. Heart sat down, put her hand out, and began to pray. Soul walked over and looked at her with a smile. She sat down next to Heart, took her hand, and joins on the prayer. "Amen," said Soul. "Amen," said Heart. Soul opens her eyes and smiles at Heart. She releases her hand. Heart opens her eyes as well and looks back at her mother's face. "Let's eat up before this food gets cold, like outside." Soul laughs and grabs a fork as she begins to dig in, starting with the eggs. "That's good," said Soul. Heart grabs a piece of bacon and takes a bite. "Tasty, Mom," said Heart, as she chews with her mouth open If you don't want to eat a fly, you should close your mouth when you chew, said Soul. Heart swallows the bacon and speaks. Sorry, Mommy, said Heart. Soul laughs a little. Eat up, I have to get ready for work and you got to go to school. Soul munched on some bacon and said, let me take my vitamin pills. Soul excused herself from the table. Soul went to the kitchen cabinet to grab her pills. A stoma bag fell on the floor. She picked it up and looked at it sadly. She put it up in the cabinet and noticed chemotherapy pills. She opened her pill bottle and slowly took out 2 pills. She closed it back up and put it in the cabinet. She looked at the counter, at the divorce papers. She held them in her hand and let out a short cry. Mommy, the meal was delicious. Soul hears Heart's footsteps and hurries to put the divorce papers in the cabinet. Heart holds her dish in her hand. Let me take that, baby. You go get your coat on. It's freezing outside, said Soul, taking the dish from Heart. Okay, Mommy, Heart said, going to her room. And make sure to wash that bacon grease off your hands. Soul yells out at Heart. Soul puts the dishes in the dishwasher. She goes to the table and picks her plate up. She finishes the rest of her food and drinks her orange juice. She looks back at Heart's orange juice and shakes her head. She puts her dish in the dishwasher. She puts dish soap into the dishwasher and turns it on. She grabs Heart backpack off the door hook. She puts it in the chair. She goes back in the kitchen and grabs Heart's lunchbox. She places a deli sandwich, yogurt, pickles, a slice of cake, a water bottle, and peanut butter crackers inside. She zips it up and places it in Heart's backpack. Heart comes downstairs with a puffy coat bigger than her. Soul smiles and looks at her. If your dad was here, he would say, girl, if you don't take daddy's big bear coat off. Soul laughs. Heart smiles and shakes a little from laughing. A pack of cigarettes falls from the coat. Heart looks down at it. Soul looks in shock. Mommy, what is this? Heart picks it up. Gum, baby. Soul rushes to Heart and snatches it out of her hand. Can I have some gum? Said Heart. Soul pauses and turns around at Heart. You can take off your dad coat and have some of that orange juice on the table, Soul said, and puts the cigarettes in her pocket. Heart takes the coat off and puts it on the chair. She drinks her orange juice. You have your child. Now go get on your protection, said Soul, looking at Heart. Chapter 3 Daydreamer. Yes, Mommy. Heart goes upstairs to her room to get her coat. She grabs her coat and notices her dad's signature on it. She snuggles it for some time and puts it on her. She looks in the mirror. Soul takes the coat and puts it in her room. Gloves fall out of the pocket. She picks up the gloves and notices white powder coming out of them. Drugs. I hate drugs. I'll just wash all these later. Soul grabs the glove and hat and puts them in the laundry bin. She sees his hat on the floor and picks it up. A needle falls out of the hat. My God. Why did he do so many drugs? Soul says, and shakes her head, and she throws the needle in the trash. I'll put it with the rest, she said to herself. As she does, she comes back to her closet to get her coat off the hanger. She goes by her bed and puts her coat on. She looks over at the photo of her and her deceased husband. She sits down on the bed and takes a moment to look at the photo. Mr. Prince Hamilton. Soul smiles and looks at the picture. Mommy, we gotta be late, said Heart, yelling out. Coming, honey. Soul places the photo back and gets up. She zips up her coat and grabs the mini bottle of lavender perfume and sprays little on herself and puts it in her pocket and goes downstairs. I'm here, but where's are you? Said Soul. Right here. Mommy. Heart slides down the armrest on the stairs. Soul puts her hand out for Heart. Heart grabs Soul hand as she comes down from the stairs. You are so brave. Soul laughs and holds her hand up and down happily. Soul gives Heart her backpack as she puts it on. Now you're ready, said Soul. Soul grabs her purse and throws her house keys in it. She opens the door. Get ready for a great day, Heart, Soul said to Heart, holding her hand out the door. Soul lets go of Heart's hand, shuts the door, and locks it. Heart runs to her mom's green car. Soul kisses the door. I'll be right back, Soul said, talking to her house. Soul opens the mail and stuffs the mail in her purse. She closes it back up. Mommy, come on, said Heart. Coming, Biscuit, Soul says, walking over to the car. She grabs her car keys and unlocks the door for Heart. Heart takes her backpack off and gets in the car. Heart shuts the door. Soul goes to the other side and gets in on the driver's side. Soul shuts her door and places her purse down. She puts the keys in the car and starts it up. She fixes her rear mirror and looks at Heart in the mirror. Seat belt please, says Soul. Heart snaps on her seat belt. Now we're ready, Soul says, snapping her seat belt too. She begins to drive, turning on gospel music. Soul taps her fingers on the steering wheel while singing. I remember me and my sister used to sing in the church. Soul sings as she drives. That was the good days, said Soul, smiling. Heart looks out the window at a little girl holding hands with her mom and dad. Heart feels sad a bit. It's gonna be a great day today. Heart, with God on both of our side, said Soul. Looking back at Heart. Yeah, it's gonna be great, Heart said in a low tone. Wanna see my job before we go to school? Said Soul, looking in the rear mirror. Yeah, that will be great, Mom, said Heart. Soul sings more. Waiting for the red stop sign to say green. The sign turns green and she drives, taking a turn left. A car goes by real fast. Soul hurries and stops the car. Soul stops singing and catch her breath. She looks back at Heart and grabs Heart hand. It's okay, baby, God got us both, said Soul. Heart catches her breath too and holds her mom's hand. This is your daddy's car too, that's a sign his soul and touch is still in this car, Soul smiles. If your daddy was here, he will say crazy drunks. Watch where you going, Soul laughs. Cars beep at Soul. Get out the way, said someone in their car. Oh. Hold your horses and drive the other way, Soul said and starts driving. What they in a rush for? I got to take my daughter and myself to work, said Soul under her breath. Heart sees a glowing neon sign that says, Soul Hair Salon. Soul parks the car. Only 5 minutes, then we out, said Soul. Soul gets out the car and opens the door for Heart. Soul takes Heart hand as she jumps out the car. They both walk on the sidewalk. Don't trip on the broken concrete, said Soul. Soul takes her keys out to unlock the hair store. Mommy, you have your own hair salon? Said Heart. Yeah, Mommy does, said Soul smiling. Soul opens the door. Heart runs inside. Heart sniff around and smells the mango hairspray and watermelon shampoo. Mommy, it smells like fruit in here, said Heart. Soul laughs. That's the hair products, said Soul. I'm surprised nobody is here yet, said Soul under her breath. Soul hears the bathroom flush. Oh, someone is here, said Soul. Sister, how you doing? Said Lance fixing his Jamaican headband. Lance gives Soul a hug. I should have known you was here when my daughter smell mangoes, Soul, and Lance laughs. Who's this little sweet mango with you? Said Lance. That little sweet mango is my daughter. Soul looks behind her. Heart hides behind Soul. Don't be shy now, say hi, said Soul. Hey, said Heart, looking at Lance. What up, little one? Lance puts his hand out for a high five. Heart jumps up and high five Lance. With a jump like that you unstoppable with sports, said Lance smiling. Why you here so early? Hope you not stealing any hair products, said Soul laughing. Who, me? Of course not, girl. Girl, Lance laughs. I dropped my 2 sons off to school, and I didn't want to sit all day in the car waiting for y'all, so I just made myself inside, said Lance. Really, I was just about to take my daughter to school. What school your 2 boys go to? Said Soul surprised. They go to Rufus and Drew Middle School, said Lance. Soul looks in shock. My God, my daughter goes to that school. To what grade are they in? Said Soul curious. They in the 7th grade, almost 8th, then they don't have to worry about middle school anymore. Lance laughs and stops. Really? I just can't wait to see my boys become older. But not too fast, Lance laughs. I know that'd right, Soul laughs. And what grade your girl in? Said Lance. She's also in the 7th, said Soul. That's cool, real good. Both our kids gonna walk across that stage together, Lance said. Smilin'. They will, said Sol, smiling. That'll be good, said Lance. You keep up with the shop. I gotta take my girl to school, said Sol. I'm gonna order us some jambalaya for lunch, said Lance. Oh, God, please not that spicy jambalaya again, said Sol. I'm picking lunch, said Sol. And I'll be paying for it. Harlem stands by the door. Sol smiles back at Harlem. Harlem smiles at Sol. Harlem looks beside her. That must be your daughter. I can tell by the face, said Harlem. Yeah, we're just about to go to school, said Sol. Be safe, both of you, said Harlem, as he opens the door wider for both of them. Chapter 4 Hope. Take care of the shop. Make sure Lance don't spice up the shop with jambalaya, said Sol laughing. Harlem laughs. Will do. Harlem shuts the door as they go out. Let's get you to school, said Sol holding Hart hand walking to the car. Sol unlocks the car door for Hart. Hart goes in the car. Sol closed the door behind Hart and goes to the driver's side. She opened the door and gets in and closes it behind her. Sol starts the car. The radio turns on hip-hop music. Hart moves around to the music. It is too early in the morning for that bam bam music, said Sol as she puts her finger on the radio and turns it back to gospel. It plays more rap. What's wrong with this radio? Sol said to herself. She looks at her rear end mirror to see Hart shaking around to the music. Oh, you like that? Sol said, smiling. Let's keep it like that. I'll change it when you go to school, said Sol, driving off. Your dad used to bop this music all the time anyways. Sol smiles and drives. She stops at the red light. She looks over at the grass to see deers eat. God have blessed these animals to some of his beautiful fresh grass. Sol smiles and looks. You see the deer's heart? Said Sol, leaning back. She jams to the music. Sol looks back at the road and smiles. The light turns green. Sol drives. She makes a turn. We almost there, Hart, Sol said. Still looking at Hart jamming and smiles. Sol drives to the front of the school and parks. We made it safe. Let's thank God for that, Sol said under her breath. Hart still jams to the music. Enough of that bam bam music. Sol turns the radio off. Hart stops jamming. Mommy, it didn't get to the good part yet, said Hart. It already did. Have a great day at school, Hart, said Sol. Hart looks at the other kids walking inside with their parents. Hart opens the door and gets out and shuts it. Sol looks back and sees Hart backpack. Hart. Sol yells out as she gets out the car. Hart stops and turns around. Sol opens the door and grabs Hart backpack. You forget this, honey, and I forgot something else. Sol gives Hart her backpack. Sol gets low and hugs Hart. Hart hugs her too. The bell rings as they continue to stand there. Still hug. I love you so much, Hart, said Sol. Me, mommy, said Hart. Sol takes mini bottle of lavender out her purse and sprays some on her coat. Sol takes her scarf off and puts it around Hart. You are perfect, creative, talented, and most importantly, you are welcome on this earth, said Sol, looking at Hart eyes. Daddy is always watching you, just like God is, and both of them will make sure you have the best day at school. Sol smiles at Hart and holds her hand. Sol points at Hart. It takes a heart and a soul to build friendship, said Sol. That's how you make friends. A teacher holds the door open for Hart. Now, go inside, it's getting cold out here. Don't want to catch a cold or flu, said Sol smiling at Hart, and the teacher will kiss Hart on the forehead. Hart and Sol releases each other hand. Hart looks at Sol walking to the car. Hart smiles and walks inside the school. The teacher closed the door behind them. You almost missed breakfast. Go ahead in there and grab yourself something, said the teacher. Okay, said Hart. Hart goes in the cafeteria and goes to the lunch ladies. You just made it strawberry cream bagels for breakfast. The lunch lady gives Hart her food. Don't forget your orange juice. The lunch lady puts it on Hart's tray. Hart has a flashback back of her mom saying the same thing. Thank you, said Hart as she walks over to a table and sits down. Hart noticed two boys wrestling each other for strawberry cream bagel. You ate my cream bagel, yelled one of the boys. I swear I didn't, said the other boy. The teacher comes over to break it up. Stop it, both of you, before you get suspended for 3 days, shouted the teacher. They both looked at each other and sat down together. I know you did it, one of the boys said under his breath. The other boy looked at him, but didn't say a word. Hart had watched the whole thing and didn't speak. She walked over to them. Here, you both can share mine, she said. She broke the strawberry cream bagel in half and gave it to them. Thanks, both boys said, as they took a half of the bagel and took a bite. Sorry for what you witnessed earlier, said one of the boys. That's okay, I love wrestling, said Hart. Really? Who's your favorite wrestler? Said one of the boys. I don't watch wrestling. I see other people do it, and my mom would never let me watch it anyways, said Hart. Looking at the boys. Wow, what type of parents you have. My dad always let me watch wrestling, said one of the boys. Well, my dad is dead, and my mom, she does gospel all the time. I have a church, Mom, said Hart, looking at the bracelet her dad made for her. Oh, sorry, said the boy. That's okay, just like my mom always say. He's in a better place. Hart smiles and fixes her bracelet. My name is Liam, and this cheese hair by me is my brother Lucas, said Liam, putting Lucas in a chokehold. Didn't I just said no more of that wrestling stuff, the teacher yells out. Sorry, Ms. Jess, said Liam as he lets go off Lucas. The bell rings. Liam looks around for his schedule. Shoot, I forgot to get a new schedule, said Liam. I think I still have mines, said Lucas. That's old, we got new classes now, Butterhead, said Liam. Coconut Head, said Lucas. Don't make me put you in another chokehold, said Liam. Chapter 5 Friendship. Yeah, you stupid enough to do it right in front of the teacher, said Lucas, laughing. Liam lets out a deep breath. All students listen, the teacher shouted. They students still continue to talk. The teacher claps her hands and yells. If you want to know what your classes are, go to the office, said the teacher. All the kids get up and runs out the cafeteria with loud footsteps. Liam and Lucas, and Hart stays at the table. Let's not be a part of the Royal Rumble, shouted Liam. I never knew your name, shouted Lucas. It's Hart, shouted Hart. Nice to meet you. Hart. Lucas grabs Hart's hand and holds it. Did you know you can feel your heartbeat in your wrist? Said Lucas. I heard, shouted Hart. Let's stop shouting and get out of here, said Liam. Liam grabs Hart's hand too, as they all leave out. Wait, I forgot something. Hart runs back to her orange juice. Phew, said Hart as she grabs both of Thea's hands. You really love orange juice, said Liam. Yeah, I do, said Hart. I like apple juice, said Lucas. Shut up, nobody asks, said Liam. I like coconut water, said Liam. Father always tell me if you don't drink coconut water, you will have a head the size of a coconut. Liam laugh. Hart and Lucas laugh. They look back at each other while walking and holding hands together. My mom always tell me to drink my orange juice every morning, said Hart. Two parents that think alike, Liam laughs. They all get to the office to get their schedules. I got art, both Liam and Lucas said at the same time. Jinx, said Liam. Oh man, said Lucas. Liam punched Lucas in the arm. That's for talking while Jinx, said Liam. Boy, if you don't stop hitting your brother, said the office lady. Sorry, said Liam. Lucas smiles. What do you have? Lucas said to Hart. I have art, said Hart. Great, let's all go theater together, said Liam, grabbing Hart and Lucas' hand. They all walk in the hallway. You new here, said Liam. No, I was here for 1 year, said Hart. Coolly, said Liam. He always liked to come up with special words, Lucas whispered to Hart. No, I do not, said Liam. Then what is a coolie? Said Lucas. It's another word for cool, you devil egg, said Leah. Don't even like eggs, but I like eggnog, said Lucas. That has eggs in it, egghead, said Liam. Hart looks at one of the doors. I think this is the art room, said Hart. How can you be so sure? Said Liam. It says art room, said Hart. Lucas laughs and looks at Liam. I didn't see it. "What's so funny, Lucas?" said Liam. "Welcome. Welcome to the amazing art room you guys will ever see. I'm just kidding. It's not much inside. Come on, take your seats so we can get started on today's lesson," said the teacher. All of them make it inside the classroom. They all look around. "Look, it's one of them Greek statues," said Lucas. Liam and Hart looks at it. Liam pokes it. "Stop before you break it," said Lucas. "It's not gonna break." Liam pokes it more. "The ear falls off." "You wow," said Liam. Hart grabs Liam away from it. Hart picks up the ear. "Oh, I know you kids was doing something in here." "How did the ear fall off?" said the teacher. Liam opens his mouth. "I did it," said Hart. "I was poking and touching it because I was curious," said Hart. "You gonna help me put it back together," said the teacher. "Okay," said Hart. Hart takes her seat and looks down at the floor. Lace looks at Liam and shakes his head. He goes over to Hart and sits by her. Liam sits behind them. Lace rubs Hart's shoulder. "I'm fine," said Hart. "Okay, class. Today we gonna learn how to make clay ears, and whoever is the best I will put on my Greek statue." Since one of my students decided to poke around at things, the teacher looks over at Hart. "Okay, first you guys have to grab some clay over in the bin," said the teacher. "Don't forget the clay tools," said the teacher. The students run over to get their clay tools. Liam goes behind Hart. "Sorry about earlier," Liam whisper in Hart ear. "I'll pay you back with anything," said Liam. "Me too," said Lucas. "You idiot. You didn't do anything," said Liam. "I should have took blame for my brother." "Stupid mistake," said Lucas. "Oh hush," said Liam, grabbing clay tools for both Lucas and Hart. Liam puts it on their table. "There's my help," said Liam, going back to his seat. Hart walks past him. "It's okay." Hart hugs Liam. Liam smiles and looks at Lucas. "Beat that," said Liam. Sits by Hart and smiles. "Already did," Lucas said. Liam smiles and takes his seat behind Hart and Lucas. Hart turns around at Liam. Hart gives Lucas a clay tool. "You forgot this," said Hart. Liam smiles and takes it. "Thanks," said Liam. "Okay, first class, you take a small piece of clay and just sculpt it until it looks like an ear." The teacher takes a piece of clay and demonstrating. Meanwhile, Sol makes it to the hair shop. "Hey girl," said Lance, chewing on some dry mango fruit. "Hey Lance," said Sol, putting her purse down. "Harlem cut someone hair." "Yo Lance, pass me the spray," said Harlem. "Gotcha," said Lance, throwing it at Harlem. Harlem catch it. "Thanks man," said Harlem. Harlem sprays the person hair. "There you go, little rock star." Harlem turns the chair around towards the mirror. "Thank you," said the boy. "No problem," said Harlem. "Looking good, son," said the boy father. "What's your name, kid?" said Harlem. "Malachi," said the boy. "Have a good day, Malachi," said Harlem. "Thanks," said Malachi, happy and looking at his hair in the mirror. "That looks very good," said Sol. "Yeah, I'll hook him up real good," said Harlem. Harlem takes the towel off of Malachi. "Say goodbye to your old hair," said Harlem, laughing. Malachi smiles. "I promise you get your hair done in the morning so you can go to school in the afternoon. That was our deal," said the father. "Oh man," said Malachi under his breath. "The girls gonna love your new look," said Malachi father. "Oh yeah, they will." Malachi smiles and gets out the seat. "How much?" said Malachi father. "The cut, the dye, the style." $300, said Harlem. "Boy, you out your mind? $300? I can buy me a flat screen TV with every channel you can think of," said Malachi father in shock. "Nah, I'm just playing with you." $30, said Harlem, laughing. "Phew, you got me," Malachi father laugh. "Here you go man, and that's extra just because I like your style." Malachi father gives Harlem $45. "Thanks, man," said Harlem. "What's your name, man?" said Harlem. "Mike," said Malachi father. "Nice to meet you, Mike," said Harlem as he puts his hand out for a handshake. You too, man. Mike shakes Harlem hand. God, you strong. Harlem laugh. That's my black power, said Mike laughing. You want something from the vending machine, boy? Mike said to Malachi. Yes, said Malachi. Mike gives Malachi $10. Hurry up, boy, said Mike. Chapter 6 Funny Mango. Malachi takes the $10 and puts it in the machine. And give me a candy bar, said Mike. Okay, Dad, said Malachi. Malachi pressed the button for a candy bar and some chips. It falls down. Malachi grabs both of the. Got it, Dad, said Malachi. Thanks, son. Takes the candy. I'll see y'all around some other time, said Mike. See you to have a great day, Soul. Harlem. And Lance said as Malachi and Mike leave out the shop. Lance puts some mango grease in his hair. Boy, what is up with you with mangoes, said Harlem. Good for hair, said Lance. And it smells good too, said Lance. You got some long hair, you gonna cut it soon, said Soul. Oh no, this is God's gift he gave me, I will keep this forever, said Lance. Soul and Harlem laughs. You spiritual man, I can tell, said Harlem. Yeah, God is everything, said Lance. Amen to that, said Soul. Harlem yarns. Man, I'm tired, said Harlem. What you did all night, said Lance. Oh, I went out to eat with my grandmom last night and her sister. Man, she kept ordering so much alcohol and crabs like she already in the age. She shouldn't be drinking like that, said Harlem. Then after that, she wanted to go to the casino, and you know I don't do that gambling stuff, man. It's a chance you can lose all your money, or get more money, ain't risking that, nope, not me. And that's exactly what I told her, so she went by herself, and I said alright, I guess I go to make sure you don't spend too much on a game. She was there for like 4 hours, and we call it a night, and what a night it was. Harlem stops his yarn. Excuse me, said Harlem. How was the crabs, said Soul. Oh, they was pretty good. I don't really care if they female or males as long as it got some meat on it. Harlem laughs. Soul laughs. That sounds good, said Soul. I'd rather you didn't dip it in butter, said Lance. Oh, yeah, you know, well, I dip it in some hot butter. Who eats crabs with no butter, said Harlem. Grandma use a crab hammer for her crabs because you know she got them old fragile hands. You gotta take care of them, said Harlem. At least you had a good time, said Soul. Yeah, it was fun and long, said Harlem. We live together so you know we always have a good time, said Harlem smiling. Soul smiles at Harlem. How was your night, Soul? Harlem said to Soul. Much. Me and my daughter just sat on the couch and watched TV. Then I read her a little Bible before she went to bed. She loves Bible stories, said Soul. Good mom, said Harlem. Your daughter might own a church one day just like how you own this shop, said Harlem laughing. She'll run it good, said Soul laugh. Lance sniffed the mango grease. Said Lance. Man, if you don't stop getting high off of hair products, said Harlem. I ain't getting no higher, I ain't high, said Lance. You gonna be. Keep sniffing that stuff, mess with your brain, said Harlem. Whatever, brother, said Lance, putting the mango grease down. You remind me of my daughter, she loves lavender, her lavender spray, said Soul. I don't blame her, lavender smell good. I use that scent on my clothes sometimes, said Harlem. And coconut, said Lance. Coconut smell good too, said Soul and Harlem. Lance smiles at both of them. I don't even play with you like that, Lance, said Harlem. Who play? I ain't playing, said Lance. A brother can't smile, said Lance. No, a brother can't smile at weird stuff, said Harlem. Ain't no weird guy, okay, said Lance. Harlem laughs. You funny man. Passed me the broom so I can sweep this hair up before someone slip on it. Harlem looks at Lance. Lance gives Harlem the broom. Harlem sweeps. Man, I'm tired, said Harlem. Let me sweep for you, said Soul. No, I need a little movement so I don't fall asleep in the sink, said Harlem laughing. You are so funny, Soul laughs. Can I tell you about my night? Said Lance. What, getting high off of hair products, said Harlem laughing. Are there no sniffing hair products, said Lance. Soul laughs a little. Go ahead, you can tell me, said Harlem sweeping. I made my kids jambalaya last night, Sol. And Harlem speaks at the same time. Not that spicy jambalaya again. Both of them look at each other and laugh and shake their head at Lance. Let a brother finish, then I drink some mushroom coffee and went to sleep, said Lance. Lance, who drinks mushroom coffee? Come on, man. Harlem laughs. You don't know nothing about coffee, but just milk and sugar, said Lance. I know you don't use no mushrooms, said Harlem. It's real. I show you, said Lance. All right, man, said Harlem, and stop eating and feeding your kids that spicy jambalaya. I can smell it through my door, said Harlem. Y'all neighbors, said Sol. Yeah, next door neighbors, said Harlem, wiping the chairs down. He ain't a loud neighbor, and I love his kids. They cool, said Harlem. Lance smiles. Not that weird stuff again, and said Harlem. I ain't weird. Who you calling weird? Lance said. You man, stop, it's giving me goosebumps, said Harlem. Me? The temperature in here, my men, said Lance, eating more dry fruit. Okay, keep playing, said Harlem. Playing, brother, it's cold in here. When it's cold you get a shiver, said Lance. I could turn on the heat, said Sol, going to it. No, wait, said Harlem. Sol turns it on, a lot of dust comes out the vent making a loud sound. My God. Turn it off, please, said Harlem, covering his ears and Lance. Sol hurries and turns it off. Oh God, said Sol. Gotten worse than last time, said Sol. You think, said Harlem. Everything in here is broken, said Lance. You gonna fix it, said Harlem. I got no spare money, only for my kids, said Lance. Sol looks around. Dang, he is right, said Sol. The vent dirty. The walls peeling. The floor got cracks. And the window has bird poop, said Sol, aching her head. Don't forget the toilets. I can't even flush it, said Harlem, aching his head. I blame the customers, said Lance. How you gonna blame them for all this, said Harlem. Maybe for the toilets, but everything else just breaks down, said Harlem. Sol been in business for 9 years, said Harlem. We gonna be okay though, said Sol. In God we will, said Harlem, smiling at Sol. Didn't you had an appointment for someone, Hair? said Harlem. Chapter 7 Common. Yeah, she 2 hours late, and nobody else ain't here, said Sol. We should totally close early, said Lance. Nah man, then we ain't gonna have no money, said Harlem. Matter fact, I'm supposed to share this 45 in my pocket. Harlem counts it. $15 for all of us. Harlem gives Sol and Lance $15. Thanks, brother, said Lance. Thank you, Harlem, said Sol. Harlem looks at the $15 and shake his head. I sure hope someone come in here, said Harlem, putting the money in his pocket and dumping the hair in the trash. The door opens. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm here for a hair appointment like 2 hours ago. I hope I'm not late, said a lady with a bonnet on her head. You ain't late. You just on time, said Sol. How you doing, sweetheart, said Harlem. Good, and you, said the lady, looking at Harlem, smiling. I'm real good, said Harlem, smiling. Where I take my seat? The lady scratches her hair. Over here, said Sol. You want me to sit in that dirty seat? Clean it, said the lady. I apologize, said Sol, wiping down the seat. How the outside of the shop look better than the inside, said the women. It's disgusting and nasty in here, said the women. Hey, my friend, you can't talk like that in here, said Lance. You must be the Jamaican one, said the women. Sol gasped. Hey, that's enough, you either talk right or get out of here, said Harlem. Okay, since you said it. She smiles and looks at Harlem. I want a pink dye, said the women. Okay, said Sol. Goes in the back to get hair dye. How long you been working here? Said the women, looking at Harlem. 3 years so far, said Harlem. That's good. Maybe next time you should do my hair, said the women. You have nice hair. But Sol does it better than me, said Harlem. Trust you, said the women. Harlem laughs. Well, trust Sol for me, said Harlem. The women rolls her eyes. I got the dye, said Sol. About time, said the women. Sol dyes the women hair. What's your name? said Sol. Sweetie, said Sweetie. That's a sweet name, said Sol. It's a nickname, don't get it twisted, said the women. Apologize, said Sol. Said Sweetie. What's your name? Said the women. It's Sol, said Sol. Oh, you must be the owner, I saw your name big on the sign, said Sweet. Yep, I'm the owner, said Sol. How your shop get like this, if you the owner? Said Sweetie. Things just break down over time, said Sol. The women looks around. That's a shame, said the women. Yeah, it is, Sol said low tone. Undying your hair, gonna let it sit for some time before I wash it, said Sol putting the brush down. Smells strong, you sure your product's fresh? I don't wanna get no scalp infection, said the women. Sol laughs. No honey, it's fresh, said Sol. I sure hope so, said Sweetie. Back at school, the bell rings. Okay class, we gonna finish this next class, said the teacher. Lucas and Hart leaves out together. Liam catches up to them. You just gonna leave me behind like that, said Liam. Oh, sorry Liam, said Hart, grabbing Liam's hand. We just gonna hold hands all day, said Lucas. Yeah, said Hart, smiling. It's not like I'm holding your hand, said Liam. You ain't gonna hold my hand, said Lucas. You wanna bet? Said Liam. Liam holds Lucas' hand. Everyone in the hallway looks. Liam is holding Lucas' hand, shouted a girl. What? No, I'm not, said Liam. Then what do you call that? The girl points at Liam's hand. Liam, let's go. It was just a handshake, said Liam. The students laugh. You still hold your brother's hand, you must still be scared of school, said the girl. You can hold my hand, scared boy, said the girl laughing. It's not. Shut up, said Liam. Hart holds Liam's hand. It's okay, it's nothing wrong holding your brother's hand, said Hart. Oh, he even has a girlfriend, said the girl. The kids laugh. You may it worst, Liam shouted at Hart as he runs off. Liam, wait. Lucas lets go off Hart's hand and chases Liam. So who is it gonna be, said the girl looking at Hart. What you talking about? Said Hart. You was holding both their hands, so who is it gonna be? The girls laugh. Maybe she loves both of them, said the other girl. I don't love them well as a friend, said Hart. You meant boyfriends, the girls laugh. What's a boyfriend, said Hart. She don't even know what a boyfriend is, the girls laugh. One of the girls touch Hart's shoulder. You have a lot to learn besides education. They walk away and giggle. Hart looks around and notice everyone walking away while she's alone in the hallway. Hart picks up 2 bracelets off the ground. She noticed one, said Lucas, and the other Liam. They even have a brother bracelet, Hart said under her breath. As she puts them both in her pocket, she looks at her father bracelet. My princess. Hart reads the bracelet and looks up. Get out my way, Liam pushes a kid out the way. Hey, I got no beef, men, said Malachi. Hart looks over at Malachi. She runs over to him. She puts her hand out. Malachi grabs her hand and gets up. Thank you, said Malachi. No problem, said Hart. That was kinda embarrassing, Malachi says. He just angry right now, said Hart staring at Liam running down the hall. What up, Malachi? A girl yells out and does a special handshake with Malachi. Hart watches. That's so cool, Hart said under her breath. The girl hugs Malachi roughly. Dixie, this is Purple Hair Girl. Purple Hair Girl. This is Dixie, my friend, said Malachi. Hey, Purple Hair Girl, said Dixie. Hart said Hart. Hey, heart attack. Just kidding, Dixie puts her hand out for Hart. Chapter 8 Bonding. Hart shakes her hand. I love your hair, said Dixie. May I touch? Said Dixie. Sure, said Hart. Dixie touches Hart hair. So pretty, said Dixie. Any friend of Malachi is my friend, said Dixie. Oh, that's great, said Hart. Yeah, said Dixie. Where y'all heading? Said Dixie. Got history, said Malachi. Said Hart. Me 3, said Dixie. Something tells me we gonna be best friends, said Dixie, smiling at Hart. Yeah, I believe we will, said Hart. Let us get to history, said Malachi. They all head to history. Dixie opens the door for both of them. I can be a gentleman and a girl, said Dixie. Hart goes inside. Malachi takes a step. Dixie plays with the door. Dixie, stop playing. Let me in, said Malachi. Dixie lets Malachi in. Ponytail. Stop playing with that door, shouted the teacher. Ugh, said Dixie, going inside the classroom. They all take their seat. Dixie sits by Hart. You ever took this class before? Said Dixie, whispering in Hart ear. Not with this teacher. No, said Hart. The other teacher quit because he got tired of me throwing paper balls at his head. Dixie whispers in Hart ear. Dixie and Hart laughs. The teacher grabs a ruler and hits the desk at Hart and Dixie. Enough giggling, said the teacher. Whoa, rough teacher, said Dixie, whisper and laugh. Hart laughs with her softly. Everyone, listen up. I know how your other teacher quit, but you will not make me quit. A little paper ball will not break me. If anything, I will break you. If any one of you beginning readers decided to hit me in the head with a ball, there will be consequences, said the teacher. The teacher slaps the ruler down. Agree? Shouted the teacher. Agree, said the whole class. That's more like it, said the teacher. I will work all of you until you are tired and can't get up to use the restrooms. You will have 10 worksheets by the end of this class to finish, said the teacher. The teacher pass out 10 worksheets to all the students. You have 30 minutes and 10 worksheets to do. Finish and submit. It's that easy. Any questions? I guess not. The teacher starts the timer. I like silence, so let's keep it like that. The only thing I want to hear is the timer ticking and your mouth shut, said the teacher. Whoosh, said Dixie under her breath. Malachi looks over at Dixie and Hart. Hey, you two have a pencil, Malachi said to them. Can't hear you, said Dixie. Malachi tries to whisper more. Do you have a pencil, said Malachi. What? Dixie smiles and looks at Malachi. Malachi speaks louder. Do you have a pencil or not? Said Malachi. Hey, didn't I just said silence, said the teacher. I need a pencil, said Malachi. That's not my problem, shut up, said the teacher. Malachi blow his breath angry. Hart gives Malachi a pencil. Thank you, said Malachi. You're welcome, whisper Hart. Hart takes out a pencil and begins to write. Dixie grabs some paper off her desk and begins to fold it into a origami heart. Dixie turns around at Hart. Heart for a heart, Dixie gives it to Hart. Hart gasps and holds it. It's beautiful. Thank you, said Hart. Dixie smiles and pulls out more paper. Shut up, said the teacher, looking at Hart and Dixie. We didn't say anything, said Dixie. You saying something now, said the teacher. Dixie rolls her eyes. Dixie looks back at Hart. I can make him shut up. Watch this. Dixie bites into some paper and grabs a straw, makes a small ball in her mouth, and blows it through the straw. It hits the teacher in the head. The teacher scratches his head and looks around. Must been a fly, the teacher said to himself, typing on the computer. Stop, Malachi said under his breath. I don't think I want to, said Dixie. As she does it again. The teacher gets up. That's it. You done it, said the teacher. I'm gonna go in my car to get bug spray, the teacher points at Hart. You in charge? Purple hair, said the teacher as he leaves out. Me? What can I do? Hart said to herself. Dixie looks back at Hart. Since you in charge, you can sit in the teacher seat. Dixie gets up and goes to the teacher desk. Dixie grabs the teacher chair. Malachi looks and shakes his head. Dixie, bring the chair to Hart. Have a seat, said Dixie. Are you sure I can? Said Hart. No, you can't, said Malachi. Yes, she can. Dixie looks back at Malachi. Dixie takes a seat and spins around. See? It's okay. Nothing is happening. Dixie smiles at Hart. Don't listen to him. He don't know what fun is, said Dixie. Oh, I can be fun, said Malachi. You and your high top, said Dixie. My high top gets ladies, okay, said Malachi. Dixie laughs and spins. Okay, said Dixie, laughing. Come on, it's fun, Dixie said to Hart. I don't know, said Hart. Dixie grabs Hart hand and moves down a little. Come sit by me, said Dixie. Hart gets in the seat with Dixie. As they spin around, Hart holds Dixie's hand. You afraid, said Dixie as she spins around with Hart. No, not really, said Hart. No need to be, Dixie said as they spin around. Stop before y'all get in trouble, said Malachi. We won't, said Dixie. The teacher opens the door. I'm back with the bug spray. What in the baby back ribs is going on? Purple hair? I thought you was watching the class. You joined in the action, said the teacher angry. Hart doesn't say a word. Dixie looks back at Hart. Well, at least it was fun while it lasts, Dixie said under her breath. Get out my seat. Both of you, shouted the teacher. She grabs Hart hand out the chair. Come on, let's take our seat before you see a red hot chili pepper on his face. Dixie walks over with Hart to their seat. The bell rings. I hope you all did your worksheets, said the teacher looking at Hart. Only 5, said Hart. I said 10. Should I give you a big fat 0 or a big fat F? Said the teacher. Dixie gives Hart the rest of her work. She actually did 5 more, said Dixie, and I did my work too, said Dixie. Hart looks in shock. I guess you did, but just for the being in my seat. Both of you. That's a B, said the teacher. Now shoo, get out of here, the teacher said, grabbing his chair and snatching their paper off the desk. Malachi smiles and turns in his paper. That was a lot of work, said Malachi. Dixie grabs Hart hand as they both leave out together. Chapter 9. Sister, wait up for me. Malachi leaves out the classroom and catch up with Dixie and Hart. Slow down, Roadrunner, said Dixie. Thanks for doing my work. Dixie looks back at Malachi. I had to do 30 worksheets. Plus, it wasn't hard. All of them just had one question, said Malachi. What was the one question? Said Dixie. Who do you look up to? Said Malachi. Of course. My dad. My mom. Sort of, said Dixie. Dad is dead. So all I got is my mom to look up to now, said Dixie. Hart looks at Dixie sad. Hart looks at her bracelet her father gave her. What about you? Dixie said to Hart. Both, said Hart. Really? Said Dixie, curious. Yeah, father died too. But I still look up to him, and my mom teach me a lot of things I don't know, said Hart, smiling, looking up at the sky. Your mom is dead too? Said Dixie. No, just my dad. Hart looks up at the sky. But God got him, said Hart. I don't believe that, said Dixie. In God? Said Malachi. Yeah, I don't. Because if God really was real, Dad would still be here, said Dixie. The only thing I believe in is life, and what happens after life. I don't know, said Dixie. Father's spirit circles around me, said Dixie. It's almost like I can feel him. But God, I can't feel, said Dixie. I sometimes feel my dad's spirit too, said Hart, smiling. Dixie looks at her bracelet on her arm. She shows it to Hart. It says my second princess, said Dixie. I have one too, said Hart. Really? What does yours say? Dixie holds up Hart arm and looks. My first princess? Dixie said confused. Yeah, Dad calls me princess a lot, said Hart. Me too, said Dixie. Well, Ashley asked we and our dads have something in common, said Hart. Yeah, they do. Dixie looks curious. My dad's favorite color was purple, said Dixie. So was mine, said Hart. When curious, did your dad had a brother? Said Hart. I don't know. But he did had a best friend, said Hart. Oh, said Dixie. Was his name Harlem? I hear his name sometimes, said Dixie. Think it was. I'm not sure, said Hart. Dixie looks at Hart, curious. Hart looks at Dixie, curious. This is getting a bit strange, said Melee. Looking at both of them. Must have one more question to ask, said Dixie, as she makes Hart stop walking. What is your father name? Said Dixie, as she looks Hart in the eye. Prince Hamilton, both Hart and Dixie said. Said Hart and Dixie. Does that mean we? Said Hart. Sisters? Dixie shouts and hugs Hart. I never knew I had a sister, said Hart. I always wanted a sister, said Dixie. Hart hugs Dixie. That's called a half-sister, said Malachi. No such thing. High top, said Dixie. Dixie still hugs Hart. Well, we wasn't born on the same day. But we can still be twins, said Dixie. Yeah, that works. Sister Hart continues to hug Dixie. I don't know what to say. Dixie smiles and looks at Hart. Well, this is awkward, said Milo. A lot of girls go up to Malaga. Hi, look at his hair, shouted a girl. Can I touch it, said another. Yeah, of course, you can, said Malachi. The girls touch Malachi's hair. Malachi smiles at Dixie. Dixie rolls her eyes at Malachi and still hugs Hart. What's your last name, said Dixie. It's Valentine. That's so pretty, Hart. Valentine, said Dixie. Based off my mom's sister first name, said Hart. Oh, your mom's sister has a cute name, said Dix. Mine is Dixie Hamilton, said Dixie. Based off. Both are fathers, said Dixie, holding out her bracelet. Hart holds out hers. Hatley asked God I meant. Hatley asked he is around us, said Hart. You religious? I can tell, said Dixie. Yeah, from my mom, said Hart. That's cute, said Dixie. To kinda think of it, I never saw our dad practice religion, said Dixie. I don't think he was with it, said Hart. Makes sense why I'm the way I am, said Dixie, laughing. My mom don't really do the religion stuff, said Dixie. Maybe that's why I don't know much about this God thing, said Dixie. When I see people pray I laugh. Because it just looks funny. Didn't know what people was praying to, said Dixie. To God, said Hart. Oh, so that's when God comes in. It makes sense, said Dixie. And other things to like problems, help, mistakes, life, food, family and friends, pretty much anything, said Hart. Well, where was his help when my dad died, said Dixie. Where was he? Dixie shouted. He would still be here. God was a protection. Dixie shouted more. The night he got shot, where was God? Dixie said. God let him die, said Dixie. I thought he had cancer, Hart said to herself. For cancer? Dixie looks at Hart. Yeah, my mom explained it to me, said Hart. He never told me that, said Dixie. So he had cancer, and then got shot and died, both of them said at the same time. Dixie cries. Hart runs up to her and hugs her. Dixie looks down at Hart. She hugs her. It's not her fault, said Hart. It's God's, said Dixie. No, not him, said Hart. He could only do what he could. The longer he would have stayed, he would suffer more. The heavenly place forgives our mistakes, and takes us for who we are. That's what my mom told me the night he died. I questioned God to that night, but I made a mistake and asked him for forgiveness. And now I found my sister. Hart smiles and looks at Dixie. Dixie hugs Hart. I love you, sister, said Dixie. I love you too, sister, said Hart. The bell rings. Dixie and Hart looks at each other. They grab each other's hand and run to class. Sorry ladies, maybe another time, said Malachi, chasing up with Dixie and Hart. Why I always get left behind? Malachi tries to catch up with them. Wait up, Lucas and Liam runs to Hart. Malachi looks at Lucas and Liam. I didn't know he was friends with Dixie. Hart, said Lucas and Liam. Oh great, you three are friends, said Malachi. Meanwhile, at the Soul hair shop. You look stunning. Soul turns the chair around for Sweetie. You hook me up real good, said Sweetie. You look great, sister, said Lance. Sweetie laughs. Ignore him, said Harlem. Chapter 10. Long walk. She looks great. What is wrong? Hardlum, said Lance. It's Harlem, said Harlem. I like Hardlum, said Lance. For real, Lance. What is a Hardlum, said Harlem. You bright this room, said Soul, laughing. Yeah. He funny, said Harlem, laughing. Sweetie looks in the mirror. How much for this hair, said Sweetie. $45, said Soul. $45 girl you gone, said Sweetie. Honey, the dye was already high enough with $20. Then the style wasn't that easy, said Soul. You can kiss that money goodbye. Sweetie runs towards the door. Harlem stands at the door. I don't think you want to do that, sweetheart, said Harlem. You want to be a strong boy, go ahead, grab me, said Sweetie. Just let her go, said Soul. You serious? Said Harlem. Yes, just let her go, said Soul. Harlem moves out the way. Sweetie winks at Harlem and runs out the door. Next time will be the police, shouted Soul. Next time won't be a next time. Harlem looks out the window at her. Sweetie blows a kiss at Harlem. Harlem shakes his head and laugh. She crazy. I can tell you that, Harlem said. Maybe she having one of them days. I just hope she pays next time, said Soul. These people crazy. They crazy, said Lance. Chewing on some fruit. Man, you been chewing that fruit since we been here, said Harlem. I'm hungry, said Lance. Soul alarm goes off. That's lunch, said Soul. Phew, I was hungry, said Harlem. Nita, said Soul. So what is gonna be today? Soul, said Harlem. I heard there was a soul food place down the street, said Soul. That sounds so good, said Harlem. And taste it right now, said Lance. Yeah, fruit, said Harlem. No. The jambalaya, said Lance. You ain't getting no dang jambalaya to stink up this shop, man, said Harlem furious. Eat something else, said Harlem. How about saltfish, said Harlem. Try something new, said Harlem shaking his head. I knew I wrote that number down somewhere, said Soul looking around. I got the number, said Lance. Then why you didn't order? Said Harlem. I got no money, said Lance. I'm buying then, said Harlem. Maybe if you stop buying all these mangoes and tropical hair products, you might have some money, said Harlem. These for the people, said Lance. Stop using all of it if it's for the people, said Harlem. Lance goes over to Soul and gives her the number to the soul food restaurant. Soul types the number in her phone and calls. Hello to soul food restaurant. What do you want? Said the lady on the phone. I'll have oxtails, greens, and cornbread, said Soul. What do y'all want? Said Soul. I'll just have some lemon pepper wings, said Harlem. Jam. Saltfish, said Lance. Harlem claps his hand. About time. Harlem laugh. That will be $120, said the lady on the phone. It's $120, Soul said to Harlem and Lance. Why everything so high, said Lance. Because it's 3 of us. That ain't cheap, said Harlem. Imagine having kids. Soul and Lance look at Harlem. Okay, I'll pick it up, said Soul on the phone. Your order will be ready in under 40 minutes, said the women on the phone. Okay, thank you. Soul hangs up. 40 minutes? That's crazy, said Soul. Yeah, the 3 of us, said Harlem. Harlem looks over at Lance. Lance, what's your kid name? Harlem look at him. Lance and Liam, said Lance. Cool, said Harlem. They both in middle school with Soul, kid, said Lance. What was your kid name? Harlem said to Soul. Hart, said Harlem. That's so cute, said Harlem. One day, I wanna have another one. But I'm just not ready yet, said Harlem. That will be sweet, said Soul. Yeah. Harlem looks up at the sky. I had one kid. He got killed, said Harlem. I'm sorry to hear that, said Soul. Oh, he in a good place, said Harlem. My deceased husband died a while back from a gunshot and cancer, said Soul. Your husband probably watching my son, Harlem smiles. Yeah, they both with the mighty God, said Soul. Prince Hamilton, am I right? Said Harlem. Yeah, how you know, said Soul. We was friends, said Harlem. Oh, that's nice to know how y'all met, said Soul. We both used to go to the same school as kids, said Harlem. Then one thing just led to another, said Harlem. Yeah, you can say that, Soul laughs. Harlem laughs softly. I'm gonna go get the food, said Harlem. I'm starving, brother. I'm starving, said Lance. Go suck or eat on some more fruit peels or whatever you eating, said Harlem, laughing and opening the door. Be safe, said Soul. Thanks, said Harlem. Harlem leaves out and takes a deep breath. Harlem puts his small speaker on and walks to the carry-out. Harlem pulls out a pack of cigarettes and a lighter and smokes one while walking. Harlem looks up at the sky. I miss you, man, said Harlem, blowing smoke up in the air. Harlem looks down at the blood on the concrete. He puts his hand out to touch it. Harlem has a flashback of Prince. What gun should I get? Harlem, said Prince. Maybe the smallest one so nobody notice, said Harlem. You a smart guy, said Prince. Harlem has another flashback. I never imagined being in a gang. I guess it's just in my bad blood, said Prince, smiling at Harlem. Harlem has another flashback. Yo Harlem, I have a kid now, said Prince. Looks like you in second place, said Prince, looking at Harlem. Actually, it is right here, say. Hi Noah. Hey, said Noah. What, wait. You have a kid, what up little dude? Prince puts his hand out for Noah. Oh, high five him. We gonna be good friends, said Prince, smiling. Noah smiles at Prince. Harlem smiles. Harlem has another flashback. Harlem drives his car by a restaurant. He sees Prince and a blonde-hair pregnant lady in the window eating and talking. Harlem smiles. You know that other girl I was with? Yeah, it ain't gonna work out. So I got another girl and had another kid, said Prince. Harlem looks in shock. Oh, I hope it all works out for you, man, said Harlem. Oh, it will, said Prince. Chapter 11. Take food and cover. Harlem has another flashback. He sees Prince leave out the club with a purple-hair pregnant lady. Harlem looks. I'll see you some other time, I guess, said the lady, as she kissed Prince. You too, sweetheart, said Prince. Prince goes in the car. What you staring at? Said Prince. You have another baby by another woman, said Harlem. Prince puts Harlem in a chokehold. Don't you ever tell Soul nothing, said Prince. All right, man. Harlem tries to breath. Drive, Prince said, crying. Harlem looks back at Prince and drives. Harlem has another flashback. Prince turns on the radio. 3 guys shot dead in a parking lot. Prince laughs and smokes out the window. Wonder who did that, Prince said, and looks at Harlem. Harlem scratches Prince across the face. You think that's funny? That's not. You made a stupid mistake, said Harlem. Prince pulls his gun to Harlem head. I want you to try that again, and I will blow your brains out this car window, said Prince. Harlem stops the car and looks at Prince. I know you won't shoot me, said Harlem. Prince laughs. He puts his gun in his pocket. Harlem laughs. You sketch like a girl anyways. Prince wipes the blood off his face. Harlem looks at Prince. Harlem gives Prince a shirt. This all I have to wipe that blood off you, said Harlem. Thanks, said Prince, using it to wipe his face. I'm sorry, man, said Harlem. Prince looks at Harlem and smiles. You work with me. Don't forget that, said Prince. Harlem has another flashback. Noah shoots the ball in the hoop. Good job, Noah, said Harlem. Let me show you how daddy do it, said Harlem as he drips the ball. Harlem throws the ball in the hoop. Good shot, Dad, said Noah. Hope watches. Hope kisses Harlem and rubs Noah's hair. One day you gonna be in the NBA, Hope said to Noah. I have hope for it, said Harlem. Harlem has another flashback. Harlem looks out the car. He sees a blonde-haired lady running out the hospital crying. Harlem has another flashback. Prince goes inside the car. Harlem sees chemotherapy pills in Prince's hand. Drive, Prince said sadly. Harlem drives. Harlem has another flashback. Wait right here. I'm gonna get us a hot dog sandwich to chew on, said Prince, walking to the gas station. Harlem gets a phone call. Your buddy picked the right one, said the guy on the phone. Who is this, said Harlem. Don't need to know. I just want you to know that your son is dead, said the guy on the phone. Listen, you don't even know me. You didn't kill my son, said Harlem. I know you, Harlem, and I know your lady too, Hope, said the guy on the phone. You bet not. Not my lady or my kid, said Harlem. I'm afraid they are already dead, said the guy on the phone. Harlem shakes in shock and holds the phone. Ambulance goes past Harlem car. Harlem drives after the ambulance. I wouldn't do that if I was you, said the guy on the phone. Why not, said Harlem crying. Because Prince is also dead, said the guy on the phone. I'm back with her hot dogs and I got us a soda. Prince looks around for Harlem car. Harlem, Prince yells out. A sniper shoots Prince's head. Prince drops his hot dogs on the ground and falls to the hard cold concrete as his blood leaks out his head. That's for killing my brother, said the sniper looking down at Prince's dead body. The prince is dead, said the sniper. Harlem heard the gunshot and looks back in his car. Prince shouted Harlem. Payback is something, huh? Said the guy on the phone. Harlem has another flashback. Harlem gets out his car to the ambulance. The police holds him back. He sees his wife and kid getting zips up in a body bag. Harlem shouts and screams. The guy on the phone laughs. I hate you. I hope you die and go to Satan's playground, shouted Harlem. You will be next. I'm coming for you, said Harlem. Not if I find you first, said the guy on the phone, laughing. Harlem shakes his head to get the flashbacks out. Harlem throws his cigarette in the trash. Still smoking that stuff. You know it gives you cancer, said Sweetie. Harlem looks up at Sweetie and has a flashback of her and Harlem kissing. That was you. You was with Prince, said Harlem. Yeah, I was until I heard he got killed, said Sweetie. You know he was gonna die, said Harlem. No, Dumby, if I did, I would have helped, said Sweetie. But you knew he was in a gang, said Harlem. Gang? I didn't know that, said Sweetie. Yo was friends, said Sweetie. That's none of your business, said Harlem. Sweetie smiles at Harlem. Well, since he's dead and you not. I was thinking me and you tonight, said Sweetie. You are so sick. You know that, said Harlem. I know, said Sweetie laughing. That's not cool. That's disgusting, said Harlem. You're lost, said Sweetie as she walks away. Hey, I ain't finished talking to you. Harlem grabs Sweetie's arm. Sweetie has a flashback of guys pushing and grabbing her. Sweetie pulls her knife out. Stay back, she aims it at Harlem. Whoa, I just have a question, said Harlem. I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone. Sweetie puts her knife in her pocket and walks away. What's her problem? She's the one sleeping with other men on the street, Harlem said under his breath. Harlem goes to the carry-out to get his food. Hey, is the food here, said Harlem. Order for oxtails, pepper wings, and saltfish, said the women. Yeah, said Harlem. Harlem takes the food. Hey, you got to pay, said the women. I'll send it through email, said Harlem as he leaves out with the food. Chapter 12 Sniper. Harlem walks with the food in his hand. Harlem walks past the alley. Harlem hears someone yelling. Listen, man, I don't know nothing and didn't say nothing, said a random guy. Shoot him, said the other one. The guy runs and gets shot. Harlem looks in shock. The guy looks up at Harlem. Nice to see you again, Harlem, said the guy with the mask. Harlem hides behind the wall. Harlem looks and don't say a word. He puts his other hand in his pocket for his gun. I don't know you, said Harlem. You do know me, the one that killed your family and friend, said the guy. Harlem comes from the wall and looks at him, and grabs his gun out his pocket. But someone like you wouldn't be dumb enough to shoot me, said the guy. A lot of other guys come behind Harlem, and knock him down, and his food. They take his food, and gives it to the guy. They drag him to Sniper, and holds him down to his knee. Thank you, said the guy. They call me Sniper. Sniper takes his mask off, and goes in the bag. Lemon pepper wings, huh? You got taste in food, but not guns. Sniper takes his mask down, showing his chipped teeth. He takes a bite, and eats a wing. Oh, I'm sorry, man. This was your food. You want a wing? Sniper laughs and takes another bite. What do you want? Said Harlem. Well, I got my revenge already. I want you to join me, said Sniper. After what you did. Satan, I'd rather die, said Harlem. Sniper laughs. I do look a little like him, Sniper laughs. Prince didn't tell you, huh? Sniper takes another bite and chew. Then swallows. His gang was our gang. I own the gang. I'm a leader. He decided to leave because things wasn't fair. The money wasn't fair. The drugs wasn't fair. Then I heard he got cancer. Maybe he smoked too many blunts, Sniper laughs. But really, I had felt bad for him. Purchased things he loved and like. Almost like he was my own son, and I was his daddy. We both got locked up before too, but what really hurts me is that he shot my brother. Sniper throws his wings down to the ground. Sniper goes up to Harlem. He shot my brother. Sniper punches Harlem in the face. He shot my brother. Sniper said loudly as he punches Harlem more in the face. Harlem looks up at Sniper, dizzy and bleeding from his lip. He didn't know, said Harlem. Lies. Sniper kicks Harlem in the chest. We was my partner long before you came. He left me for you, New Yorker pizza boy, said Sniper. But unlike you, I have many partners, said Sniper. Sniper grabs Harlem. I'm gonna give you time to think about it, said Sniper, as he lets Harlem go. Harlem looks around. Sniper grabs the food. I'll take the wings, you can have the rest. Sniper throws the food at Harlem. You have 27 hours to give me the answer I want, or you gonna end up like that guy, said Sniper, and points at the guy on the ground. Harlem looks at the dead man, sees a lot of blood coming from the guy's head. Harlem looks up at Sniper smiling, and grabs his food, and runs. The police sirens go off. Remember 27 hours. Sniper puts his mask on, and gets in his van with his gang. As they pull off, Harlem runs all the way to the shop. The police goes to the crime scene. They notice the dead body. We got a dead body on the scene, tape the area, said one of the officers. Harlem busts through the hair salon door. Harlem looks back at notice the van following him. Sniper stares through the window. 27 hours. Sniper said nonverbal, and drives off. Oh my God. Are you okay? I heard gunshots, said Soul. Yeah, I'm fine, said Harlem, catching his breath. I got the food. Harlem puts it on the tray. Lance looks at Harlem. You're bleeding, said Lance. Oh, Harlem wipes his mouth. I fell on the concrete. That's why the food little mess up, said Harlem. I already ate mine. The rest is yours, said Harlem. Harlem coughs and covers his mouth. Soul takes her food out the bag. She opens the food. The boxes mess up, but the food is good, said Soul. She grabs a fork and takes a bite. She looks at Harlem. You okay, Harlem? Said Soul. Yeah, I'm alright, Harlem said, thinking to himself. Lance gives his food to Harlem. What's this for? Said Harlem. It's for you, said Lance. I'm not hungry. I'm full from the fruit, said Lance. Thanks. Man, Harlem grabs the food and opens it. Man, this ain't no saltfish. This fried shrimps. They got the order confused, said Harlem. That's crazy, brother, said Lance. Soul gives Harlem her cornbread. Harlem looks at Soul. No baby, eat your cornbread, said Harlem. I'm okay, just need my oxtails and greens. Soul laughs and smiles at Harlem. Harlem takes the cornbread. Thank you, sweetheart, said Harlem as he takes a bite into the cornbread. Speaking of sweet, this cornbread's so sweet. What they put in it, honey? Harlem and Soul laughs. Y'all two come over here and try a piece. Harlem breaks it into two and gives it to Soul and Lance. They both take a bite. Whoa, that's really sweet, said Soul laughing. Tastes like fruit, said Lance. Man, why? Everything gotta be fruit about you, said Harlem. I love fruit, mostly mango and peaches, said Lance. We should get some peach cobbler next time, said Soul. My grandma makes some good peach cobbler, said Harlem. One day, bring some up here for us to enjoy, said Harlem. That's my sister's favorite snack, said Soul. Your sister reminds me of my grandma. They love it to death, said Harlem, laughing. Only 20 minutes until I pick up my sons, said Lance. Soul and Harlem looks at the clock. Dang, time flies by so fast, said Soul and Harlem. Harlem and Soul look at each other. Harlem wipes the crumbs off his chin. Meanwhile at school, Malachi, Lucas and Liam both grab Hart and Dixie. We caught up, said Malachi. Slow pokes, said Dixie. They all walk together. Hart notice everyone staring. I think they curious why we holding hands, Hart whisper to Dixie. Oh really? Is that so? Dixie stops walking. Listen up, you watermelon seed heads. This is my sister, and I am proud to have a sister. Some of you lame ear-picking kids Chapter 13 Gang of Friends. Don't know what that is, and if you don't I'm gonna show you, shouted Dixie as she holds Hart hand. And I am both their friends, said Malachi holding Dixie hand. Lucas and Liam look at each other. And we are brothers, Lucas said, and holds Liam hand. Liam looks at Lucas hand. Liam looks at Hart, and we both are friends of Hart. Lucas and Liam holds Hart hand. And we are all friends, said all of them. They all look at each other. The students clap. As they all hold hands and walks down the hallway. I feel a little nervous, said Hart. No need to be. That's normal, said Dixie. They all make it to gym class. Okay class. Today you will climb this rope. All of you get in a line, said the teacher as they all get in line. You first, Malachi, said the gym teacher with his clipboard. I can't mess my hair up. It's for the ladies, said Malachi. What ladies, you in middle school? Kid, said the teacher, as he blows the whistle. Malachi runs to the rope. Malachi climbs up the rope. Malachi looks up. You got this sour cream onion breath, said Dixie. Malachi climbs up the rope and hits the bell. He puts his shades on and looks down at Dixie. Malachi blows a kiss at Dixie. He's such a show-off, Dixie whispered to Hart. Malachi slides back down. All the girls stares at Malachi. They shout his name. Okay, show off. Get off the ropes and let the twins go, said the teacher. Malachi blows kisses at the girls. Thank you, thank you. Malachi stops by Dixie and bows down at Dixie. And thank you, said Malachi. Dixie rolls her eyes. I told you I can do it, said Malachi. Take the shades off, you look like a broke rapper. Dixie takes Malachi's shades off. The girls love it, said Malachi. Liam climbs up the rope. Liam looks up. You got this, said Lucas. I know I do. Jelly bean, said Liam as he climbs higher up. He tries to hit the bell, but slides down a little from the ropes. You can do it, said Hart. Liam smiles down at Hart. He takes his shirt off and throws it down and shouts, Ew, said Dixie. Yeah, I can, said Liam as he climbs up faster and hits the bell. Liam smiles at Hart and comes back down. Okay, pretty boy, let your brother go, said the teacher. Liam smiles at Lucas. Lucas climbs up the rope. Lucas gets a little nauseous and climbs more. Lucas climbs more. He looks little green, said Malachi. Yeah, I noticed, said Dixie. Liam and Hart looks at Lucas concerned. Lucas looks down. No, don't look down, said Dixie and Hart. Lucas climbs back down fast and runs to the trash to throw up. Lucas, Liam goes to Lucas. You still did great, shouted Dixie. Your turn, tough girl. The teacher looks at Dixie. Watch me, said Dixie. She grabs the ropes and goes up fast. Dixie hits the bell. That's what you called a winner, Dixie points at Malachi. Hart claps. I'm already won, said Malachi, sitting next to the other girls on the bleachers while they touch his hair. Dixie slides back down from the ropes. Dixie puts her hand on Hart's shoulder. You got this, sis, Dixie said to Hart. Lavender hair. Let's see you, said the teacher. Hart looks at the rope. She looks up. Don't look up, said Dixie. That doesn't help. Looking up is how she know where the bell is at, said a kid. Shut up. I know what I'm talking about. Bookworm, Dixie said to the kid. Hart feels the rope. Hart circles around the rope. The teacher looks at her confused. Dixie looks at her. Hart has a flashback about her father. In order to survive in a world like this, you gotta have a heart to pump it and a soul to guide through tough times. Hart snaps out of her daydreaming. She looks up at the ropes. She begins to climb the rope. Hart has another flashback of her dad. When your heart pump, it's pumping your ancestors' blood. Use your strength to honor them. Prince puts his hand on Hart's heart. Hart snaps out the flashback and climbs more. Dixie claps. Go Hart, shouted Dixie. Help me out. Bookworms, said Dixie. The other kids clap for Hart. Hart hits the bell. The whole gym shouts. Dixie smiles at Hart. Hart looks back at Dixie. Hart climbs back down. Hart has another flashback of her dad. Take a bow for yourself when you accomplish something. Heart bows down. You put on a great show. Dixie hugs Heart and spins around with her. Heart laughs and smiles. Dixie sniffs her. Oh, you really do smell like lavender, said Dixie. I love lavender, said Heart. Me too, said Dixie. Liam and Lucas smiles at Heart. They run up to her and hug her. Save some for me. Malachi runs up on them and joins in the hug. The bell rings. All right, you all pass, including you, Lucas, said the teacher, looking at Lucas. Thanks, Couch, said Lucas. You gotta work on that sick stomach. Try cucumber juice or green tea and lemons, said the teacher. Will do, Couch, said Lucas. Yeah, we really gonna drink that, said Liam. I'll try, said Lucas. Yeah, and barf again, said Liam. They all leave out the gym. Put a shirt on, shouted a teacher. Looking at Liam. We stars don't wear shirts, said Liam. They all walk down the hall to the exit. They make it outside. A lot of kids run out the door. Finally, I don't have to be in the darkness anymore, shouted a random kid. Running past them. They all laugh. So I guess we all going home, said Liam. Yeah, something like that, said Dixie. Dixie looks over at Malachi. His hair is so cool, said a bunch of girls, touching his hair. Malachi smiles at Dixie. Dixie rolls her eyes. My dad should be here any minute to pick me and my brother up, said Lucas, sitting on the bench. They all sit on the bench together. What about you? Liam said to Heart. My mom picks me up, said Heart. Oh shoot, I forgot about this, Heart said to herself as she opens her lunchbox. You guys want some? Said Heart. Heck yeah, said Dixie as she took something out their lunchbox. Lucas and Liam grabbed something too. Fry munch. Thank you, Heart, said Lucas. Yeah, thanks, said Liam. I was hungry, you're a lifesaver, said Dixie. No problem, friends and sister. Dixie smiles at Heart. You a cool sister, said Dixie. Chapter 14, Consequences. I wish my mom had a car to pick me up, said Dixie. Where do you live? Said Dixie. I can't tell you, said Heart. We sisters. You can tell me, said Dixie. I have a house by this church, said Heart. Wait, don't tell me the one on South Street, said Dixie. Yeah, that one, said Heart. And I live by this cool arcade that has a restaurant built in it too, said Liam. The food sucks, Lucas. You don't have to eat the food, you can play the game Salt Cracker, said Liam. Dude, put a shirt on, it's literally still winter time, said Dixie. A real wrestler don't wear shirts, said Liam. You're not a wrestler, said Dixie. One day, Dixie, one day, said Liam. Meanwhile at the shop. Well, time to close up the shop, said Soul. The food was delicious, said Lance. You didn't even eat anything, said Harlem. I had a piece of cornbread, said Lance. Man, that little piece of cornbread ain't nothing, said Harlem. Lance puts on his hat. I'm out. Family, said Lance. He hugs Soul and handshakes Harlem, and leaves out the shop. Take care, man, said Harlem. Harlem looks at Soul. Soul looks at Harlem. She gives him a hug. Harlem hugs Soul. See you tomorrow, peach cobbler, said Harlem, laughing. You funny, said Soul. Harlem watches Soul leave out the door. Harlem smiles at her. Soul walks over to her car. Hey, shouted Sweetie, going towards Soul. Hi, said Soul. It's time you have to pay, honey, said Soul. I'm not here for that. Sweetie pulls out her knife. Said Soul as she drops her car keys. Did you kill my man, said Sweetie. You're what? I wasn't with nobody since mine died, said Soul. You're lying. No, you had a baby with him, said Sweetie. Who is your husband? Said Soul. Prince Hamilton. We had one girl named Dixie together after you two broke up. Bet you didn't know that, huh? Said Sweetie, smiling. Soul looks at Sweetie and don't say a word. I didn't know you two was together, said Soul. Please just put the knife down, said Soul. No, some guy told me you was there the night he got shot, said Sweetie. I knew about it when I got home. Trust me, I have nothing to do with that, said Soul. You keep your kid away from mines. You got me, said Sweetie. I don't know nothing, said Soul. Harlem runs up to Sweetie and Soul. You got the wrong one, sweetheart. Take your knife and your life somewhere else, said Harlem. Okay, honey, whatever you say, said Sweetie, as she puts her knife away and winks at Harlem. Sorry about that. Harlem picks up Soul keys and hands it to her. You know her, said Soul. Yes, said Harlem. Soul looks at Harlem. Why you didn't tell me, said Soul. It's a lot I have to tell you, actually, said Harlem. What she said. It's true, said Harlem. Wait. So you know Prince and her used to be a thing, said Soul. Yeah, said Harlem. Soul shakes her head and gets in the car. Unbelievable, really. Harlem, said Soul. Wait, where you going, said Harlem. To pick up my kid, said Soul as she drives off. Soul, it's not safe, shouted Harlem. Lance looks over. Harlem looks back at Lance. Harlem and Lance looks at each other and don't say a word. Harlem notice a mark on Lance's elbow. Nice tattoo, said Harlem. Oh, that's nothing, man, nothing, said Lance. Oh, I saw something, sorry, said Harlem, shaking his head. Harlem goes back in the shop. I'm gonna work overnight, said Harlem. Soul stops at a red light. She checks her mails in her purse. She sees a eviction notice paper. Soul looks sad and stares at the paper. Soul bangs her head on the driver wheel, angry. She puts her head down. A van pulls up beside her. A guy with tattoos looks at Soul. The guy pulls his mouth mask down, showing his burnt skin. He grabs a water bottle and drinks. Soul slowly looks up at him. They call me Sniper, said the guy. Soul screams and drives off. Follow her, said Sniper. Soul drives fast. Soul looks for her phone. She picks up her phone to call the police. I won't do that if I was you, Sniper said with his van next to Soul's. Sniper shows his gun. He shoots next to Soul. Soul hurries and drives fast. Sniper sniffed the gun smoke. I don't know what's good, this gun smoke or people being afraid of me, Sniper said under his breath. The van follows Soul. Soul drives around the block. The van tries to keep up. A truck comes by. Soul hurries and drives past fast by the truck. Sniper yells. He punched the driver in the face. We got to find them, said Sniper. Where is your mom, said Dixie. She should be here soon, said Hart. Can you ask her to give me a ride, said Dixie. Sure, said Hart. Lance and Soul both make it to the school. Get shouted both of them. Liam, Lance and Hart looks up. That's your mom, said Dixie. Yeah, said Hart. I didn't know your dad works with my mom, said Hart. Yeah, he's the cool guy, said Liam. Hurry and get in, Hart, said Soul. Can my friend come, said Hart. I don't care, just get in now, shouted Soul. Hart hurries and opens the door for Dixie and herself. They both get in. See you tomorrow, said Lucas and Liam. Hart throws something out the window. I forgot something, said Hart. Liam and Lucas catch it. Our bracelets, said Liam and Lucas. They swap bracelets and wear it. They get in the car. Lance drives off and Soul drives off. Lance looks back at Lucas and Leon. Boys had a great day, said Liam. Yeah, Dad. I climb a rope today, and everyone was looking at my abs, Liam flex. No they wasn't, said Lucas. My son, you not cold, son? Said Lance. No Dad, I'm a wrestler, said Liam. Yeah, you are a wrestler, said Liam laughs. And I'm arcade worker, said Lucas. Arcade worker. Liam laughs. 25 cents an hour, Liam laughs. Chapter 15 Guess who's back? If he wants to be arcade worker, let him be one, said Lance. I love me action games, said Lance. Dad is cool, said Lucas. Meanwhile, Soul, Mommy, is everything okay? Said Hart. How was your day at school? Said Soul. Dixie whisper in Hart ear. Don't tell her about us, said Dixie. It was good, Mommy. I have 4 new friends now, said Hart. Mommy, why you driving fast? Said Hart. Who's your friend? Said Soul. This is Donna, said Hart. Nice to meet you, Donna, said Soul. Dixie looks behind her. She sees Sweetie and Sniper in the van. Dixie puts Hart in a chokehold. What is happening? Soul looks back. Stop the car or she. She gets choke, said Dixie. Who are you? Said Soul. My name is Dixie, and Sweetie, her real name, Sweetheart, is my mom. She wants revenge, and so does Sniper, said Dixie. Sweetie knocks on the car window. Where's my daughter? Said Sweetie. She's in the car with me, said Soul. I thought I told you to stay away from my daughter, said Sweetie, pulling a knife out. Open the car, said Sweetie. Soul looks back at Heart, in a chokehold. Soul looks at Sweetie and opens the door. Sweetie grabs Soul out the car and drags her to the van. Listen, Heart, I'm not gonna hurt you. My mom is making me do this. Sniper, he worser than my mom. I'm sorry, Dixie cries. I trust you, sister, said Heart. Dixie smiles down at Heart. You two out the car, said one sniper. Men. Dixie drags Heart out the car. As they both get in the van, Soul looks back and cries. Don't hurt my girl, said Soul. Let up and get in the van. Sweetie throws Soul in the back of the car. Dixie pushes Heart in. Heart faints. Soul gasps and goes to her. One of Sniper men locks the door. Soul hugs Heart. Dixie and Sweetie sits in the car. Great job, Sniper said, smoking. No problem, Sweetie kissed Sniper. You, Dixie said under her breath. Let's take them to that shop. Give Harlem a surprise, said Sniper. They drive to the shop. Lance drives. Lance notices a marker print on his window. SOS, said Lance. Lance turns around to the shop. Daddy, where we going? Said Lucas. The shop. My sons. I left something, said Lance. Harlem grabs a mop and mops the floor. Harlem plays hip-hop music. Harlem cleans the shop. Let me call some people to fix this place, said Harlem. Harlem calls the ARC people. Yeah, can you come out tomorrow to fix this vent? We are at Soul Hair Shop, said Harlem. I don't see much of a spirit in here. Sniper walks through the back door. Harlem grabs his gun. Remember what I told you earlier about 27-something hours for a response? Well, I'm running out of patience. I want my answer now, said Sniper. Harlem aims the gun at Sniper. Sniper whistles. A lot of guys come from the front of the door and knocks Harlem on the ground again. Do we really have to do this again? I thought the first time you would have listened, said Sniper. I told you the answer was an O, said Harlem. I figure you was gonna say that. So you know what I'm gonna do. Sniper grabs his gun. One of the guys hold Heart and Soul. They throw them down on the floor. Soul, said Harlem. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? Said Harlem. Not yet, said Sniper. You give me the answer I want or else, said Sniper, aiming the gun at Heart. You won't shoot a kid, said Harlem, said angry. Sniper laughs. I can see the devil in your eyes already. Harlem. They call me kid murderer for a reason. I didn't just woke up with the name. I earn it. I killed a lot of them, adults too. And your son was one of them. Did you forget? Said Sniper. Harlem pulls his gun on Sniper. A lot of guys aim their gun at Harlem. Harlem, don't do it. Love, said Soul. Please don't, said Soul. Listen to your women, said Sniper. Harlem aims the gun at Sniper and cries. Maybe I'm not getting real to you. Sniper aims the gun at Heart. No, said Harlem. A gunshot goes off. Sniper gun falls out his hand. Sniper tries to go to Harlem. I'll see you in. Sniper falls to the ground. Sniper bleeds from his head. Lance blows the gun smoke off his gun. I hate people that shoots kids, said Lance. Lance. Harlem and Soul shouts out. Harlem shoots the guys behind him. Out. Harlem shoots a guy by Lance. One of the guys put their hands up. Harlem goes up to them. Get down, said Harlem, aiming the gun at the guy head. Harlem, it's you, said the guy. What? Said Harlem. The guy take his mask down. It's me, said the guy. Who are you? I don't know you, said Harlem. The guy rips the fake skin off his face. It's me, Prince. Prince looks up at Harlem. Soul and Harlem gasp. Fake skin. That disguise works every time. Prince smiles. Prince, that can't be you. You got shot, said Harlem. And had cancer, said Soul. And another baby, said Sweetie. I know. But let me tell you the real story. He and Sniper. We was jail buddies. That explains all his tattoos. Gang stuff. We both created a gang for ourselves called the Loco Triangles. I left the gang little later on while we was out of jail, because he's a Satan, he kills kids. Which explains why Lance left too. Lance shows his tattoo on his elbow with a triangle. I knew I saw something on your elbow, said Harlem. Gang secret can't be tell, said Lance. I wrote SOS on his car to get help, said Prince. Prince shows his, on his elbow. Then after that, I met you. Prince points at Harlem. I know he was after me. He said while we was in jail, if you leave me, and we will find you and kill you. So he sent his brother after me to kill me, which I didn't know was his brother. So I shot him, said Prince. He knew I killed his brother, so I had to hide myself. So pretend like I had cancer and stayed in fear for some time to hide away from him. I paid the doctor to keep it a secret and give me medicine that I didn't need, said Prince. Stupid, I know, said Prince. But why cancer? Why not something else? I was concerned. That's why I left the hospital crying, said Soul. It was to protect us. I'm sorry. Worst thing ever to say, said Prince. Word on the street. Someone snitch told him where I was, so I had to hurry and leave the hospital. Chapter 16 New story. Then you know the bird caught the bee. Prince looks disappointed in himself. Is that the ice cream man? Dixie and Hart looks out the window. Where? Harlem shoots sniper 5 more times. Dixie and Hart and Prince and Soul looks. Sorry, my gun went off. Harlem smiles. Prince laughs. You crazy man. That's why I chose you as my partner. And Lance. Y'all two are funny. Well, I'st glad you're okay, said Soul. She runs up to Prince and hugs him. Sweetie looks at him. Sweetie pulls her knife out and goes to Soul. The police comes in. Put the knife down, said the police, aiming the gun at Sweetie. Sweetie holds it and aims it at the police. I don't think you want to do that, said the police, aiming the gun at Sweetie head. Mom, just put it down, said Dixie, looking at Sweetie. You know why I'm in the mess I'm in? Because I had you. If I never had you, I would still be living my life, Sweetie said to Dixie. Dixie cries. Sweetie looks at Dixie, angry. That's not true, it was both their fault. I left Soul for you, stupid mistake I ever made. But yeah, said Prince. So, that really is your child, said Soul, surprise. The Prince looks disappointed. I knew you cheated on me since the moment I lay my eyes on you. But when you got sick, I didn't finalize the divorce papers. Instead, I kept them the same way I tried to keep you with ... me, Soul said, crying. Prince tries to go to Soul. Harlem puts his hand out to block him. Prince looks disappointed in himself. I know I mess up, and I'm sorry, said Prince. Please let me be back in your life, said Prince. Sweetie goes to Soul and grabs her. You not taking him? Not again, said Sweetie. The police shoots Sweetie in the leg. Sweetie yells out and falls to the ground. I will kill you. Both of you, said Sweetie. You betrayer. You said we was gonna be together forever, said Sweetie. You love Sniper, remember? Said Prince. I'll kill you. The police grab Sweetie and arrest her. Dixie watch and cries. Prince looks over at Dixie. Dixie, that's you, said Prince. Dixie looks up at Prince. Dixie runs to Prince and hugs him. She made me do bad things. Dixie cries out and hugs Prince. Hart hugs Soul. Mommy, we gonna be okay, said Hart. It's okay, baby girl, got you now. Both of you. Prince hugs Dixie and looks at Hart and Soul. She will never come near us again, said Prince. The police drives off with Sweetie. Lucas and Liam comes out behind the shop. Hart, yelled both of them. They hug. Hart, I see you got yourself a friend, said Prince. My boys are your daughter friends like jelly and fish, said Lance. Enough with the weird talk, said Harlem. Just saying, said Lance. They all laugh. A day later, we reporting to you live from the Soul hair shop where accident took down 5 hostages and a kid murderer now dead, known by the name Sniper. Sir, can you tell us what happened, said the news reporter. I'll tell you everything, said Harlem. It was crazy. These guys tried to shoot us, said Lance. I didn't know my man was even alive, but thank God he is, said Soul. Things feel different now, said Dixie. We don't know what happened. Our dad told us to stay in the car, said Lucas and Liam. Why nobody told me it was a shooting, said Mike, eating his candy bar. The ladies love this hair, said Malachi. My mom always tell me that God got us, and my father always said he was my protection, said Hart. Well, you have it, said the news reporter. Liam goes in front of the camera. I just have one thing to say. What you gonna do, brother? When Liam puts the hurt on you, Liam rips his shirt and throws it to Hart. Put a shirt on, shouted a random guy. This is Keys News signing off, said the reporter. Soul hugs Prince. Prince hugs Soul. I thought you died, said Soul. Well, with my hoodie and a bulletproof helmet on my head. And this zip bag with red juice. Not by any chances, no, said Prince. Harlem sits on the ground. Lance sits next to Harlem. Harlem laughs. I know it's you, Lance. I can smell the mango tree, said Harlem, smiling. I'm not just a Jamaican that gets high off of hair products, said Lance. And see that now, said Harlem, laughing. Lance looks at Harlem. You see that truck pulling up, said Lance. Yeah. What about it, said Harlem. The truck stops by Harlem. Tall boy comes out the car. What? Said Harlem. Dad. Noah hugs Harlem. Hope comes out the car. Hope, said Harlem. Harlem and Hope shares a kiss. But how? I saw you two in a body bag, said Harlem. I use fake figures, it wasn't really them, said Prince. You had me thinking my family was dead, and they was alive for years, said Harlem. Dad? He did it to protect us. He said we would die if we stay with you, so he took us somewhere far away from this, said Noah. Shut up, boy, and just hug me. Harlem hugs him. Chapter 17 Family Thing. And I also got another surprise, said Prince, looking at Soul. What? What is it? Said Soul. Prince turns Soul around. Hey, sister. Valentine looks at Soul. Soul covers her mouth. Valentine, I didn't hear from you since. Soul hugs her too. Your husband made sure we was safe, said Valentine. Well, glad you're safe, said Soul. Also the mayor now, said Valentine. Really? That's great news, said Soul, surprised. I heard the shop got damaged, said Valentine. Yeah, it was broken down some, said Soul. Is this Soul hair shop? Said the workers. Yes, it is, said Soul. Can we fix your shop? Said the worker. Of course, you can, said Soul as she lets them in. You paid them to come here, said Soul looking at Valentine. I paid. But Harlem, the one that calls, said Valentine. Soul looks at Harlem and smiles. Harlem hugs his family and looks at Soul. Hour later, the shop is good as new, said the worker. Lance, Harlem and Soul goes inside. It's so good, said Harlem. Soul cries. I can't believe it, said Soul. Lance sniffed the store. Smells fresh, said Lance. Prince goes inside with Hart and Dixie. Wow, it's good, said Prince. A car beeps outside. Harlem goes outside. A car pulls up. Harlem, Grandma comes out the car. In here, son, said Harlem. Grandma, what you doing here? Said Harlem. You said you wanted peach cobbler, remember, said Harlem. Grandma. Harlem laughs. I didn't know you was really gonna make it, said Harlem. Anything my son wants, he gets, said Harlem. Grandma. Harlem. Grandma kiss Harlem on the cheek. I love you, son, said his grandma. Meet you, Grandma, said Harlem. Stop calling me Grandma. I'm your mom, said Harlem. Mom, you just act like one, said Harlem, laughing. Why? Because I suck on hard candy and eat ice cream, said Harlem. Mom. Harlem laughs. Harlem. Mom laughs. Harlem grabs the peach cobbler and goes in the shop with his mom. Everyone say hi to my mom, said Harlem. Hey, said everyone. It sure does smell good in here, said Harlem. Mom, we just fixed the place up. And we got heater now. Harlem turns on the heater. With no dust, said Soul, laughing. And sounds, said Harlem, laughing. 3-1 dig in, said Harlem. They all cut a piece of peach cobbler and eats. A year later, Soul gets out of bed. Prince comes up to her room with breakfast and coffee. "I got you something, my love," said Prince. "Thank you," said Sol as she kissed Prince. Prince kisses Sol ring. "Did the kids eat?" said Sol, eating a piece of bread and sipping coffee. "Yeah, I whipped them up something," said Prince, as he kissed Sol. "I promise that I will start all over again with you and the gang. Stuff is over. I will stay with you forever, sick or no sick," said Prince. Dixie and Hart chases each other in the house. "Y'all calm down before y'all fall down the stairs," said Sol. "I'm happy I have custody over Dixie," said Prince. "She was going through a lot," said Prince. "God took her from a wicked house and bring her in a church-loving home," said Sol. "Yeah, God did," said Prince. Prince grabs a Bible. "Dixie and Hart, come here," said Prince. Dixie and Hart runs to the room. "Yes, Daddy," said Dixie and Hart. Prince flips the pages. Prince sits on the bed. "God is your wings and your shelter. God is your father who will comfort you during difficult times. God knows everything in our life, more than we know ourselves. And God will always be with you, even when you die." Prince looks at Dixie and Hart. They look in shock. "Which won't happen to any of us anytime soon," said Prince. "Now let's get ready for Sunday church," said Prince. Hour later, Prince wears his suit, waiting downstairs for Sol. Sol comes down the stairs with her Bible in her hand and her church hat. "I can smell that lavender all the way down here," said Prince. Sol laughs. Prince puts his hand out for her. Sol grabs his hand as she comes down the stairs. Prince and Sol slow dance. "You remember this," said Prince. "Of course I do," said Sol. "You look amazing, my lady," said Prince. "You two divorced husband," said Sol. "Divorced?" said Prince as he stops dancing. Sol pulls out divorced paper. She rips it in front of Prince. "We not divorced," said Sol. Prince kisses Sol. "You scared me," said Prince. "I also paid the rent," said Prince. Sol hugs Prince. "Thank you," said Sol. Prince smiles. "You're always welcome, my spiritual soul," said Prince as Sol laughs. Dixie and Hart watch. "You," both of them said. Prince and Sol was up at Hart and Dixie. "You girls look amazing," said Prince. "Hart, you got on my lavender perfume," said Sol. "We both do," Dixie said and hugs Hart. Sol smiles. "Come on downstairs," said Sol. "Don't want to be late for church," said Sol. Dixie and Sol comes downstairs. "Let's get ready to go to church," said Sol, as she grabs both their hands. "I'm driving," said Prince. Chapter 18. Amen. They all get in the car heading to church. Sol holds Hart and Dixie hand. As they walk to the church door, "Welcome to church," said the preacher. "Hey, another day with the Lord," said Sol. "Yes, amen to that," said the preacher. "You even got your Bible," said the preacher. "Never leave home without it," said Sol. The preacher looks at Prince. "Good to have you two and your cubs," said the preacher. "Yeah, feels great," said Prince. Sol looks around for a seat. Lance and Harlem stands up in their suits. I'm so happy to see you both." Sol hugs Lance and Harlem. "Good to see you, sister, and to be with my brothers," said Lance. "Dad, stop talking like that," said Liam. Lance laughs. "Dad sounds funny," said Lucas. Lucas and Liam see Hart. Hart hugs Lucas and Liam. "Hi friends," said Hart. Malachi looks back in his suit. "What up?" said Malachi. Dixie hugs Malachi. "Oh, this is nice," said Malachi as he hugged Dixie. Looks at him. "Get it, Tiger," said Mike under his breath. "That's my daughter," said Prince. "Oh, hey man, how you doing?" said Mike. "Oh, I'm really good," said Prince, fixing his hat. Sol sits next to Harlem and Lance. Harlem and Sol smiles at each other. Prince sits in between them. "Hey," said Prince. "Hi," Prince said Harlem. "Excuse me," said Harlem, as he gets up and sits by his son and wife. Sol smiles. "I'm sorry, happy you look out for him. He have such a good soul," said Sol. "Yeah, I'm glad I did. He's such a great friend," said Prince. "Before we start the church off, let's let Valentine say her poem," said the preacher. Everyone claps. Valentine comes on stage. "You go." Sister said, shouted Sol. Valentine smiles at Sol. First, I wanna say, that's my sister Sol sitting over there, and she does a lot and even owns her own hair salon. I'm just a mayor, but let's congrats her, said Valentine. Everyone claps their hands for Sol. Oh, and I'm not saying the quote they are, said Valentine, as Hart and Dixie comes up the stage. Sol looks surprised, and Prince, when gangs threaten to break a family bonds, said Dixie. God's protection will save us all, said Hart. Through torn apart by violence, cruel hands, through God's path found us connection like friends at school, said Hart and Dixie. The faith we have for him is the only thing that can't be broken, said Hart. Dixie and Hart holds hand as they take a bow. They smile at each other. I'm happy I have a sister like you, said Dixie. Me too, said Hart. Everyone claps their hands. Everyone give it up for Valentine about to sing, This Little Light of Mine. Valentine puts her hand out for Hart. Come sing with me, sister, said Valentine. Prince and Harlem claps their hands for Hart. You got it, girl, said Harlem. Prince smiles. Lance and his kids clap for her. My wife Sol always shine in this room, said Prince. Sol goes up the stage with Valentine. Valentine grabs her hand. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. The end. A pure heart comes with a great soul. Layla en Hood or Drewerwolf. Matthew 5:16. Your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Psalm. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going both now and forevermore.